So our first vocabulary is quartiles. There are three values or numbers that divide a data set, which is a group of numbers, into four parts. Quartiles gives you the four, so we're getting three numbers that divide them into that. Okay? It'll make sense when we see one. So we're making what we call a box and whisker plot. Okay? So a box and whisker plot, just so you know what it looks like, is going to be something that looks like that. It's a box with a whisker on each side. Okay, that's what a box and whisker plot is. And it helps us to visualize some data, some numbers. Okay? Sometimes when you see a picture of data, it's easier to understand what's happening to it. So, first step is put our numbers in order from least to greatest. So if you have a set of numbers here, like we do in this first example, put them in order from smallest to biggest. So we've got 0, 1, 1, 2, there's two 2s, 3, 4, 5, and 9. And a lot of times I like to count how many numbers I have here to make sure I've got the same number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So both lists I have 9 numbers. So hopefully I've got the same numbers. The other way to do it is cross them off as you go. So that was the first step. Put them in order. Second step. Find the least or the smallest and find the greatest or the biggest value. So we're going to make a little list here. Our least. What's our smallest number?
0.
0. Our least is 0. Our greatest. Jackson. 9. Don't get too close to that number line because we are going to put something on top of that number line. So if you're getting really close to that, try to stay above it a little bit. Yep, you're all right. Yep. Okay. All right. So that was step 2. Step 3 says find the median. Who remembers how to find the median?
Like the middle, so you cross them off until you get to the middle.
Yeah, and in this case, I wouldn't cross them off because we're going to use them all still. So what I would do is underline like, okay, the 0, the 9, 1, 1,
Yep.
1, 4, 2, 3. So 2 here is my median. So median is 2. So how many numbers do we have so far that we found?
3.
We found 3 numbers. Okay? Then, step 4 is we're going to find what we call the first and third quartiles. So the first quartile, to summarize these two definitions here, the first quartile is the middle number of all the numbers smaller than the median. So how many numbers do we have that are smaller than the median? 4 numbers here. Yep.
You include the circled one or no?
We don't include the circled one. Okay? So there's 4 numbers left. So what's the middle of these?
2. 1 point. Oh, yeah. 0, 1.
So we got not 0 or 2. So it's somewhere between these two.
0. But it'd just be 1 because it's
It'd just be 1 because we have 1 there, right? So our middle there is 1. So our first quartile is 1. Okay? That's just what they call that number. Okay, the first quartile. Then our third quartile is going to be the middle of the numbers bigger than your median. So we'll cross off the 3 and the 9, and it's halfway between these numbers here. So it's right here. So we've got 4.5. So our third quartile is 4.5.
Yeah, what about the second?
Okay. So there's not one named second quartile because that's just our median. Okay.
Oh, that's true.
All right. So now how many numbers do we have? How many numbers do we have there?
5.
5 numbers. So that's all we're looking for is 5 numbers. Okay. So now we're going to go down to our number line. So we've got a number line. I gave you one here. On your assignment, you're going to have to draw a number line. Okay? When you draw a number line, you want to try to keep your numbers evenly spaced. You do not have to count by ones. You could count by tens. You could count by fives. You could count by twos. You could count by threes. Whatever works for your scale on yours. Okay? As long as they're evenly spaced. Okay, you wouldn't want to go on this number line. You wouldn't want to say zeros here, ones here, and 100s here, and then 101, right? Because the spacing isn't even. Okay, you want to represent even spacing. So we're going to take all these numbers that we just found, and we're going to plot them onto our number line. Okay? So your smallest number is 0. So we'll just put a little dot there. Okay, and I'm going to do it above this, so my lines don't get mixed up with my other ones. My biggest number is 9, so I'm going to put another little dot here.
Bigger dot there because it's the biggest number.
Then my median, my middle number, is a 2, so I'm going to put a dot on the 2 here,
Make that medium.
or above the 2. My first quartile is 1, so we'll put a dot there. And my third quartile is 4.5, so halfway between 4 and 5. So you should have 5 dots there. Okay? All right. Draw lines. Let's see. No, that's sorry. Draw a box through the first and third quartile. So we're on step 6. And a vertical line through the median. So, first quartile. That's the first quartile number. That's number 1 here. You're going to draw a box. So there's the beginning of my box all the way to my third quartile. So here's my box. So a box from first quartile all the way to third quartile. Then it says draw a vertical line through the median. So here is my vertical line through my median. And last it says draw lines from the box to the least value, the smallest value. And we'll put a line here just to represent that. And to the greatest value. And we now have a box and whisker plot.
That's so cool. Wait, do we have to do that on our homework?
Okay. So what's your practice? We're going to do one more practice one, and then there's 3 that you're going to have to do for homework, okay?
3? Oh.
Just 3. Okay? So you're going to draw one of these.
First I got fish.
Okay? What was that?
A box for the 4.5.
Yep, the box goes all the way from 1, the first quartile, all the way to the 4.5. Okay?
Wait, we didn't finish this.
Yep, that's it. We'll come back to it tomorrow. All right. So now we got some other numbers.
We can do
Different
it on the
numbers.
bottom of
Notice the number line here. I started at 15 and counted by 5s, but they're evenly spaced 5s. So let's put our numbers in order from smallest to biggest.
21.
21 I heard.
No, 18 before.
18 I heard.
21.
27.
25.
24.
24.
25.
And I heard a 25. And I heard a 27. 33?
Yep. And then 35.
Twice.
35 twice. And then I heard a 38. 40. 41.
52. 53.
I think that's all of them.
Yes, it is. 'Cause
So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 numbers. 14 and 14. Sounds like the right one. Okay. And if instead of dots you want to do lines when you do these above the number line, so you don't have to draw lines later, that's fine too. A lot of times people will do that. So 18 is my smallest. You just put them in as you go. So the least is 18. The greatest. What's my biggest number? Because we're going to end up with a line there anyways. So I'm doing creating my box and whisker as I find the numbers. So now we got to find the median. So there's 18, 53, 21, and 52.
35.
Okay, you got both of those. 35, so right in the middle here, right?
It's
So 35.
He's adding them up. Yeah, add them up and then divide by 2. It's 35.
It's the same thing.
We'll still get 35, right?
Yep.
35 plus 35 divided by 2 is 35. There's my median. Okay, in this case, my median was right here, right in between these, right? So now I'm going to use 18, and I'm going to use this first 35 there, okay? 21, 33, 24, 27. So my first quartile is 25. See how I got first quartile?
Nope. Yep.
Okay. So my first quartile here, I'm looking at 18, 21, 24, 25, 27, 33, and 35. That list of numbers. I'm going to cross off and cross off and cross off 24 and 27. The middle is 25. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on the upper side. So 35 and 53 cancel, 38 and 52, 40 and 45. So we're left with just 41. So you have all your numbers in there.
Yes.
I got 41 here.
I didn't get anything. I was just.
I keep hearing people say 45, but did we all get 41?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got all these lines. So we're going to create a box from the first quartile to the third quartile. So my first quartile of 25, create the box.
I did it. I did it.
All the way there? Okay, so I've got my box. And then last step, I'm going to create my whiskers. We're on part 2 here, finding the inner quartile range, 3 steps. Okay, first step, put all your numbers in order from smallest to biggest. So that seems to be a pretty typical step we've been doing lately. So we've got 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh, 2 tens, thank you. 12 and 14. Okay? So you got them all in order. Step 2, you got to find 3 different numbers, the median and both quartiles. So I'm going to label these. Oops, that's Q3, not Q2.
What is Q3? Q3 is the quartile.
Okay, so The median, again, it's just as simple as pairing up your first and last numbers until you get back to a single number in the middle. So my median is 10. And then quartiles, same thing. Pair up some numbers until you're left with. First quartile is always to the left of the median. Yep. Third quartile is always to the right.
Are we already done?
So we now have first quartile, third quartile. Last step, step 3, find the difference. Difference is what kind of math problem? A subtraction problem between the first and third quartile. So you're going to say 12 minus 9 equals 3. So my IQR, my interquartile range, equals 3. That's all you got to do today. So what I'm looking for on your assignment sheet is the median, quartile 1, quartile 3, your subtraction problem, and your answer.
Oh, wow.
That's all I'm looking for on your answer sheet today for each problem. Okay? Can I give you a little more challenging one a second?
Yeah.
Okay. This will help you on your assignment, I think.
I love my map.
So let's pick the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the numbers. What's the median of those numbers? 2.5. It's right here in between. It's 2.5. So my median is 2.5. Then, what numbers do I need to use to find the first quartile? What numbers am I using to find the first quartile?
1 and 2.
The 1 and 2. These guys here. So it's somewhere in between these two for my first quartile. $1.5. And again, add the numbers together, divide by 2. My third quartile in between these two. $3.5. So now, again, grab a calculator. Do this math on a calculator. It makes life way easier for you.
2.
So my inner quartile range equals 2. Okay? Finding the mean absolute deviation. Mean means average. Deviation means how far away you are from something. How far do you deviate from it? Absolute means it's going to be positive. Okay? So, first step, find the mean of our numbers. So we're going to take our numbers, 18.6 plus 19.3 plus 17.7 plus 20.0. Divide all of that by 4. So when you add them all together, you got 75.6, Ben?
Yep.
Okay. So 75.6 divided by 4 gives you what? 18.9. Okay, so we added them all together, and we divided by how many we had. That's the first step. Questions on the first step? Yes, ma'am. Second step sounds confusing, but it's really not. Find the distance on a number line each value is from the mean. Okay, and then make them all positive. I know that sounds confusing.
That sounds.
You're going to do a subtraction problem. You're going to use your calculator, so that it's very simple, easy to do. Please use your calculator. You're going to take your mean of 18.9, and you're going to subtract each of these numbers from it to get a new number. But you're going to make all of your answers positive. If your calculator says a negative number, you're going to write it as a positive number.
Oh.
That's what absolute means.
Say.
Okay? If you do, so let's do one of these in a minute. So for step 2 here, we're going to do 18.9 minus 18.6. Just a subtraction problem. If you do that on your calculator,
Wait, do we have to do all the numbers?
you're going to do all 4 numbers. So you're going to get 4 subtraction answers. 18.9 minus 18.6. What do you get?
0.3.
0.3. Is that a positive number?
No.
0.3 is a positive number. There's not a negative sign there. It's positive. It's above 0.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh.
So we're going to leave it 0.3.
Oh gosh, I
Okay.
got so confused.
Now, let's do the next one. You're going to take 18.9 minus 19.3. What does your calculator say?
Negative 0.4.
-0.4. We're going to make it positive. Okay? So your calculator says negative 0.4. We're going to make it positive. So just make it 0.4. So you're going to subtract the numbers, make all your answers positive.
And then
We got 2 more to do.
minus 17.
18.9 minus 17.7.
1.2.
1.2. Is it positive?
Yes.
Yes, so we leave it that way. 18.9 minus 20.0.
Are we going to add them at the end?
Nope. We're just getting all these numbers first.
Minus negative 1.1.
Negative 1.1. So we got to make it positive, so it's just 1.1.
Minus.
Is that all you have to do?
So that's step 2. Get all your new numbers. Okay? We have 4 new numbers. We started with 4 numbers. We have 4 new numbers. We just figured out how far each one of our original numbers is away from the average. How far does it deviate? Last step, find the mean of these numbers that we just got.
Oh wow.
So last step,
Oh.
0.3 plus 0.4 plus 1.2 plus 1.1 divided by, how many numbers do I have there?
1, 2, 4.
4. When you add them all together, you get 3. We're still dividing by 4. 0.75. So our mean absolute deviation is 0.75.